I think
Welcome to our episode. I think it's 22.
22 or 23.
Something like that.
Who's counting at this point?
Hi, guys. Happy New Year. It's good to be back after taking some time off last week. Hope everybody had safe Happy New Year. We're back at it. And oh boy. So I went ahead and kind of looked at the news of AI world in the last 2 weeks. And there's just a lot going on. So if you're here, great job. You're going to learn all the greatest and the latest and some crazy stuff that happened in the last 2 weeks. So you will be up to speed and you will be in the know what's happening in the AI world. So you can use this information in whatever way you're building it, building with AI, creating with AI, whatever you're doing with AI. So today, this is the place to be to figure out what's happening in AI world. We'll talk about news. We're going to have a deep dive on one of the interesting developments in AI space that has to do with audio. And we will talk about AI economics. We'll talk about a company in the AI world and kind of what's working, what's not working, especially if you're building in the space. And then we'll talk about funding.
The number one creativity suite is what we're going to be looking at today.
Yes.
Maybe you heard of it, maybe you haven't, but I can't believe it's the number one creativity suite. Think images, videos for social media, that kind of thing.
Yep. And I'm thinking for next week, we're going to do 2026 predictions. So we'll be ready for that. But for today,
I'm going to give some foreshadowing on that today.
Let's uncover what we've missed in the last 2 weeks. So we'll go ahead and get started with the news of the day, and we will share the news. We've got a ton to talk about.
Oh, you got pictures for this?
I do have a picture, of course. Wow. Do I have a picture for this?
Oh, I see it. I'm looking at it now.
Can you see this?
It's quite a picture.
Yeah. Can you see this?
I can see it.
It's my notebook LM before it stopped working. So apparently
can you
Google
zoom?
had some. Apparently Google had some kind of outage yesterday or something like that, so it's not working very well. But let's dive into it. News number one. Can you see this okay, or do I need to make it more?
Make it bigger. Computer enhance. There we go.
Okay. I can only do so much. All right. News number one, consolidation. So this past week, XAI raised $20 billion, and it solidifies them to be one of the top 3 AI companies in the world. Gemini is not here because obviously Google has some other things in different hands and different baskets, but that's a pretty big deal for XAI. And now we've got 3 kind of players that are playing on the big scale. So OpenAI.
These are the 3 that have received significant investment capital. Google is funding their own deals, so they don't show up here.
Exactly.
I don't want to leave them out. I feel like Google's got a strong foothold.
But these 3 are sitting on a pretty big what war chest, is that what you call it?
Oh yeah, that's the AI war chest.
Yep. And we'll talk more a little bit about what the evaluation is now, and then I did some homework on kind of what they're going to do with this money. But that was the big news of the week. $20 billion with a B. That's how much they raised. News number 2, Meta acquires AI agent startup Manus. It's a Singapore-based company for over $2 billion. So this should be B, not an 8. And I did not want to correct it. Not $28. It's $2 billion.
For over $28.
This is what they say. Google LM, Notebook LM doesn't hallucinate. What sometimes it does, and you have to check your numbers. Anyway, so this signals a major push into agentic AI that autonomously performs tasks. And this is actually interesting development because Meta has been a part of Llama this past week, which we'll talk about it in a second. But they continue to try to figure out how to make it work with their Llama and open source model that they're building.
I've still never met anyone using a Meta AI product.
Listen, you were telling me.
It hasn't happened.
We'll see what they're going to do with Manus, because as a non-technical AI person, I'm frustrated with the agentic development. Like even earlier today, I told you, I was like, hey, can you look at this video that Greg Eisenberg did for, what is that method called?
The Ralph Wiggum agent.
Right. And I'm like, I wish I could play with that, but clearly that method is only for developers and technical.
I'm going to rant about this so hard.
Okay. All right. I'm sure you will. Moving on. News number 3, Yann LeCun. I hope I pronounce his name.
Yann LeCun.
LeCun. So he was a Meta's chief AI scientist. The key word here was he was. So he exited back in November, and he put a very nice, exit letter. Thank you, everybody. Very LinkedIn type exit letter up to 2 months ago. But he just did an interview this past week with I forgot who was the publishing thing, but he was not very nice about his exit. He had some spicy things to share, and I'm actually going to share that in a second. But this departure signals internal tension and potential shift away from open source models. So let's see, what did he actually say?
Yeah.
So, your girl brought in, can you see this?
Oh, you got a graphic about this. Amazing.
Oh yeah, do I have a graphic about
This was 11th hour
so
stuff.
he scorched earth, basically. He was not very nice. Financial Times, that was the interview. Can you see this?
Yep.
So the first problem, he talked about leadership clash. They apparently hired Alexander Wang, new head of AI, and he did not like that very much. He thinks that he's young and experienced, no experience with research. You don't tell a researcher what to do, and you certainly don't tell a researcher like me what to do. So I guess there was some ego clash.
Old head vibes here. I think I saw something about Alexander Wang last year. He's like 27 years old or something like that. He's young.
And I guess he didn't play very well.
I forget where they pulled him from, but
with
whatever.
This guy. Anyway, another problem at Meta, the cracks in the things, apparently. Llama's 4 project, I guess they didn't do very well on the benchmarks. And Mark was not very happy and lost confidence in everyone involved. So that will lead him to sideline the entire GenAI organization. I don't know about you, but I don't think things are going very, very well at Meta right now. So that's
what do they even do? Instagram is the only thing that's worth a dang there that young people care about.
I mean, remember we talked about that. This is Meta. Llama is the only one that's open source model right now. That's a US company. Well, apparently, based on what he's saying, is that they're going to completely abandon it. So they are going to. They are completely LLM pilled, according to him. And they, and he thinks LLMs basically are a dead end. So that's a big clash. So I guess Meta is abandoning their OpenAI model. I mean, open source model.
That's how I read all this stuff. But
and moving towards the, competing with OpenAI and Gemini and XI and all of that stuff. But they're kind of maybe late to the game. So that was interesting little strategic rift.
What Facebook needs to roll out?
What?
Is a special feature for boomers like, is this AI? Where you click on it on an image. That's what they really need to do.
I actually think that would be a really good way for them to do that, because we'll talk about, isn't Instagram theirs too?
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in a second. But and the last kind of thing, one of his quotes was, a lot of people have left, and a lot of people who haven't yet left will leave. So I heard the XAI is hiring with their newly raised $20 billion.
Yeah, I'm calling it now. And Meta is out of the AI game. Not that they were ever really in it. You got Chinese open source models that people are using because of the price, or not price difference, but the lesser compute requirements. They're done. They're done.
I mean, I think this was spicy to not include into this, because we don't really get an insight like that, and I'm surprised he's free to talk like that. That's very shocking.
Well, he obviously got pissed. I mean, that's some butthurt language for sure. He didn't like that young kid. So, didn't Amazon earmark like $6 billion for a new open source model as well? Didn't we cover that like a month ago?
I don't remember. Probably.
I think they did.
Well, let's keep talking. So news number 4. So that was the Meta drama over there for you guys. More drama, I guess. A top Google engineer admitted that Anthropic's Claude Code replicated a year's work in about an hour.
Well, it was an engineering team of 10 people had been working on something for a year, and she basically claimed that what you could do with Claude Code in 1 hour is what they did with that team in a year.
She got like 8 million views in that tweet or something. And then she tried to walk it back and said, well, I put a 3-paragraph prompt in there describing like all things that worked and didn't work over the year. So she tried to walk it back. But to me here, what's important is that even Gemini clearly is praising that Claude is kind of the the premier, or the place to be if you really want to get some quality coding done. So what do you think about that spicy stuff?
There's so much hyperbolic stuff that gets bounced around about coding and these AIs. My real world experience is simply that Claude is the most buttoned up. It is the most, if we're considering each of these models to be an engineer, Claude is the most precise engineer of the bunch so far. It's the most precise.
By far. It's my favorite.
Yeah. I am bullish, super bullish, on Grok's ability to do these things. Also, although it does not have the capabilities, it is not nearly as refined as Claude yet. But we're going to talk about that later in the show. I think of all the other models, the only one that's going to compete with Claude in any capacity is going to be Grok, in my opinion. And that's that. But I think this whole vibe coding thing and like, how much work these engineers do and how fast these things do it. There's so many holes in this argument. Like, I actually do this stuff. I actually see what has to happen.
Don't you think somebody who's the head of Google, like that, one of the top engineers there, that saying something like that, that's just, that's very strange. Don't you think?
I do think it's strange, but it got 8 million views. Then she's walking it back. I don't know. Everything's clout these days.
Who knows? Who knew that we're going to have all this drama in the AI world this already?
Listen, if I thought I could get us 8 million views, I'd probably say some stuff too.
Well, not when Gemini is looking bad after that. That's kind of weird. Anyway, let's move on.
She's still employed? Do we got a post?
We will report on that next time. News number 5 is OpenAI is in the news. They all got in the news today. So OpenAI launched ChatGPT Health, its first vertical product. So with 40 million people already using it for health queries and questions and all that stuff. So OpenAI decided they're going to enter the specific industry, and they created this product, which is basically sort of like a project that will have different guardrails from what I understand. And they're not going to train on this data. You will be able to upload all your what are they called, tests and blood work and different, paperwork. You'll be able to connect your wearables to that, and then you'll be able to kind of get monitored with ChatGPT Health. So people are already using that. They're going to try to make it a little bit more, I guess, safe. They're using some kind of guardrails from safety perspective too, which whatever that means. And they said they're not going to train on this data, so they'll be private. So I guess they're telling people to use more of that, because what can be more wrong if you put more stuff of your personal private information to OpenAI? I don't know. And they're entering the vertical where some of the companies that have been building something like that may have been host already. So what are your thoughts on this?
This is the best move OpenAI has made since September. Of all the things they've done, I like this one the most. I think this has the most legit real world application. This actually affects people. This is a positive and good use of AI. We have way too much garbage wrapped up in the credentialism and the gatekeeping of medical stuff. It's ridiculous. Your blood work is your report card. You don't need a freaking credentialed doctor to read your report card. This is basic cause and effect, A plus B equals C kind of stuff. It's perfect for AI. This is perfect. Anything that can push back on that gate-kept system is good.
I believe it was Arizona. I think there's a first state that just approved of using AI. It's AI company that fast tracks your prescription refill if you already have one, and they're already using that. And so I think that's another move that that AI is going with prescriptions and medications and all that stuff to sort of connect each other and make sure that they all talk to each other. So that's one of the news of the week. OpenAI is going to try to make it safer for everybody to use OpenAI for ChatGPT for what people are already using it for. News number 8. Grok was in the news.
I have firsthand insight into this one.
Did you really? Did you see something that he didn't tell me about?
If you actually use X, which I do, you almost certainly saw this week a meme, and this was an action meme, like people doing this thing. So a woman would post a picture,
Oh
and then
no.
someone would jump in the comments and say, "Hey Grok, put this woman in a bikini." So that was the thing. It didn't matter what. So first of all, it was like cute girls' pictures with their clothes or something. You say, "Hey Grok, put it in a bikini." That's how it started, and then it morphed. It became like ridiculous circumstances. So you had like these OnlyFans type girls saying it about themselves, like, "Hey Grok, put me in a bikini." So then it was sort of meta. And then you had the absurd phase where it's like, some ridiculous thing happens and some picture of a woman that's like not sexualized at all, not even supposed to be. And then the commenters are dropping in there, "Hey Grok, put this woman in a bikini." Like, it's ridiculous.
Well, so here we go. So Grok got into the
So that's what Grok was doing. Grok was putting these women in bikinis. Now, I didn't see anything that wasn't tasteful. I didn't see anything that wasn't
happen
tasteful.
to man too? Was there any naked pictures of man?
That's not the meme.
Oh, okay. Anyway, well, there you go. That's facing backlash for safety failures. That model generated inappropriate undressing AI content, highlighting risks of tools with weak guardrails. Here we go. More guardrails. I don't think Grok cares about that, but that's what got in the news. And now I want to go and look at those pictures.
Well, you'll have like a female politician post something that's all serious, and then like all the comments are, "Hey Grok, put this woman in a bikini." It's
oh my
it's
gosh.
so absurd.
So here's
Lord
moving on. We've got a couple pieces of news before we move on to the meat of the program. So we've got OpenAI pivots to an audio first hardware device. So they move away from the screen signals a major UI UX paradigm shift toward volume interaction. So yeah, we're going to talk about that more, but I thought that was interesting. So at the same time, the same week, Amazon's Alexa Plus is now on the web, no hardware needed. So it removes the major border to adoption, making voice AI accessible to anyone with a browser. So basically, it's kind of like they're shifting. So OpenAI decided that they need a hardware device. Alexa, who has been a hardware device forever and used to kind of operate in voice, now moving they're moving to the browser. So you can literally go to Alexa, alexa.com and get on the wait list and interact with that browser connected to Amazon, as much as you want. So they're kind of building the opposite. So they announced these two things. We're going to talk about those two paths. What does that mean? But for somebody who does not like Alexa at home or Echo, whatever you call it, I'm actually interested to see how that's going to work in the browser, where I can actually talk to Amazon and create different, things for me to do without actually using my voice. So anything on that?
Well, I want to talk specifically about the shift, the obsession now with the shift to voice. In 2018, Elon Musk went on Joe Rogan and articulated this point that I think we're all aware of, but like I really like the way he said it. He's like, we for 20 plus years, keyboards are our primary input mechanism. And somebody who's well versed in this is roughly 100 words per minute. And that is your bandwidth in terms of what you can communicate to the computer.
Right.
100 words per minute. Then though, we shifted to mobile. And mobile with thumbs, if you're good, it's 40 words per minute. It's a significant reduction from the 100 words per minute. So we have these devices, there's massive device proliferation, but a reduced bandwidth for input to the computer, from you to the computer, to get things out of it. And we underestimate, because we don't really talk about it too much, we don't really obsess about this, but we underestimate how much frustration and limitation comes from simply from our bandwidth, from what we can communicate to the computer.
Right.
And clearly, voice blows that apart in the other direction. It's better than the 100 words per minute. Certainly better than the 40 words per minute of thumbs. You went from 10 fingers to thumbs. That sucks. At least now we can go to our voice, which has almost unlimited capacity.
Well, but these companies make very different bets, right? And we're going to talk about that in a second, about like what that means in terms of trends. And even in our household, you are team typing, I am team voice. I'm pretty much I'm using Whisper all the way. I don't even type
it's a bandwidth thing. At some point, I don't really do anything where I need that high bandwidth for the communication to the computer, but there are plenty of things in life generally where that's an enhancement. So
Well, I think
more
I'm a lot
bandwidth is
faster
better.
talker than your typer. We should compete sometimes and see who's going to win.
You're probably going to win, ma'am.
Anyway, all right. And the last piece of the news from the week, from last 2 weeks, the creator economy pivot, Instagram. So there's all these people. I guess maybe they had too much to drink. I don't know. They went on the X and or the all these things that people kind of posted. So this guy, the Instagram guy, he's some high up in the Instagram world. He declared that AI perfect content is dead. Apparently, Instagram has been flooding with AI created content, and I feel bad for people who don't even know what's real, what's not real anymore. And platform is going to move towards actively promoting authentic human content over polished AI visuals. So we talked about this. So like live videos, or the messier the better, but I worry if AI is going to start getting even good at that, creating the more messy videos and like kind of adapt to that. So I'm really curious to see what is going to happen, but that's kind of the statement that was made by one of the Instagram higher ups.
The problem is that AI can adapt to any style in like essentially 0 seconds.
Right. I mean, we knew that the AI perfect content is only going to last for that long. Like I have no interest in watching AI generated content. It's not really real to me, but maybe I'm becoming a boomer and I just don't really care. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think our teenager cares about AI generated content?
Oh, I think the thirst for authenticity and genuine connection is strong. I think that's not going anywhere. I think there's been a sense for years now that things are overproduced and too polished. There's been a backlash against like the ADHD editing style where you cut out like every little pause and like videos are just like a nonstop barfing of just nonstop words to make the video as short as possible, but also as information dense as possible. So there's always backlashes against those things, and I think all the backlashes, what they all have in common is that they are seeking just like actual human thing.
Right. And humans are messy.
Is becoming the most scarce. This is the gold.
This is why I love that we're doing this live, so we can feel the energy. So
hey, speaking of which, YouTube, if you're listening, you're not, but if you were, it would be great if you would give people who do lives regularly a little bit of a boost in the algo, because it's like you're doing nothing if you're doing a live.
I know.
This is what the people want. The shift is towards this.
Well, Anyway, all right. We're going to move towards, shall we go to the deep dive or shall we go to AI economics? What do you want to go?
Is that not the same thing?
No, AI economics is Freepik, and then the deep dive is going to be on our
the voice war.
Yeah.
Let's do that. Let's do Freepik.
Okay. So if you've been watching this every week, you know that we are talking about the 50 companies that we're moving towards. And AI economics is the reason we even have this segment on the show, is because we are learning together what is working in AI world and what is not working, because SaaS as it was does not work in the AI world anymore. And AI company is not really a technology company. Like it doesn't work in that regard. So like there's all these different things that are evolving, and we've been researching these 50 companies that are that made the list of I think it was like 2,000 companies that they researched them. And these are the 50 companies that startups actually spend money on. So this is for real. This is where the money is flowing. So we're researching what's working, what's not working. And today's winner is Freepik. So Freepik is number 4 on the list. That means it's getting, the top 4 funding.
They're the first non-code app. Everybody else
so after
is really
OpenAI,
like
Anthropic, and Replit, a lot of companies are spending money on Freepik. So what the heck is Freepik? So we're going to talk about that today. And then if you're curious to hear about all these other companies, you can watch previous episodes. But what is Freepik? Let's dive into that.
Yeah, so our last 10 episodes before this one have one with these deep dives. So basically go back to episode 12, I think, and then moving on from there.
Yeah. So Freepik is it's basically Google for images that they panicked and pivoted to survive. In 2010, freelance designers burned hours searching fragmented sites for free graphics or paid $50 to $200 per asset from Shutterstock.
Yep.
Are they even around anymore?
I don't know. Haven't seen that.
Joaquin Cuenca Abella, fresh off selling Panoramio to Google, launched Freepik as a meta search engine. We didn't need to create content, just index it. Organic SEO drove viral growth to 32 million monthly users by 2020, fully bootstrapped. So in 2014, so this company went from all kinds of iterations. So they're not purely first AI company. They pivoted very heavily, and now they are AI first company. So this is a very interesting journey to kind of study. So in 2014, they pivoted to a contributor model plus in-house production where indexed content failed to retain users. Subscriptions launched in 2015, and the company remained profitable throughout. We have been operating this company in a profitable way since we started. That's what he said. So what I want to do is I'm actually going to pull up their path and share this. Let me know if you can see this.
This is the DALL-E one? Yep.
Yes. So November 2022, the DALL-E 2 launches. And according to the CEO and the founder, he said, we panicked when DALL-E launched, realizing it would make Freepik's stock business obsolete. And that was the day he realized AI would destroy them, right? So a critical moment 3 years ago, what do you do, right? So from they disclosed the revenue that was about 87 million at that time. For those of you who don't know, DALL-E can generate unlimited images from text. And so Freepik's 200 million stock photos suddenly felt outdated. So team realized rebuild or die. Dun, dun, dun. So what did they decide to do? They decided to become an aggregator. They decided that they don't want to build AI models, or they wanted to integrate at best. They acquired IAM for training data and started integrating Flux, Stable Diffusion, and others.
Well, here's an interesting note. So their history had been that, there were all these different sites you could go to for stock images. You could go to Getty Photos, you could go to Shutterstock, all these places. So designers were accustomed to going to various places to get stock images. At the time, you would have had to have like a subscription to each one. So you already got subscription fatigue within that marketplace. What Freepik did is they went around and aggregated as much of that stuff as possible. So they basically said, we're your one-stop shop for stock images for internet. They were able to get enough quality materials that designers started to say, hey, this is better than having, your Getty or your Shutterstock subscriptions, all that crap. Instead, we got it in one place from Freepik. So what they did, they applied that exact same approach to AI. They're like, there's all these places to go get it. There's all these different things you could generate. You could do it here, there, or everywhere. We're just going to be the all-in-one shop for this. And that kind of has informed their business model that exists to this day.
Right. It's actually like, I was trying to understand, like, what does that even mean? And the best analogy I could come up with, well, actually Claude came up with, was it's kind of like going to a food court, right? When you have access to all these different places to eat, so you don't have to go to all the different restaurants. And this is what they decided to become. They aggregated all those different models on top of what they already had. And they started to kind of providing access through subscription, to that. Now, the question is the pricing. As we know, there's no such thing as free AI. Somebody has to pay the bill for the tokens. So hybrid pricing got introduced in Q4 2023. They launched credit-based AI generation alongside stock subscriptions, and then they tested how to monetize without destroying margins. Because we know if you don't have guardrails around that, this unlimited use,
power users will eat you alive.
Will eat you alive. Now they got up. So clearly, whatever they were doing was working. They got up to 150 million monthly users. I mean, this is amazing that they've been dealing with this since 2023. I barely even started playing with AI at that time. That's insane. This is when the companies already like try to pivot. Now they in 2024, Magnific AI acquisition. They acquired. They added AI upscaling and enhancement and bot capabilities faster than building from scratch. So they have about 30 AI models integrated. That's That's pretty good. Food court.
That's a lot.
Right. July 2025, 18 months later, unlimited AI generation. So unlimited caught my attention here. So they completely transformed all-in-one AI creative suite with 30 models, Flux, VO, Sora, Kling, Runway, unlimited tiers, Capture Pros. 4 million images a day, 1 billion total, and they are profitable.
So this is interesting. I follow quite a few of these. I consider them like new age video creators or video producers. It's people using various AI tools to create like short videos, but they're totally done with AI. And they mention a lot of the stuff they like. I use 11 Labs for voice. I use Sora. I use Kling. You know, like I don't know the differences here. Don't quote me on this, but like, you know, Kling is good for you know, if you have an illustration, you put it in there and it animates your illustrations for you, and you can turn that into video. Then you dump that into Sora, and Sora like makes it all smooth and more like a movie timeline, something like this. They're using these various tools to do this. I suspect, based on, you know, somebody will post a video and then someone will inevitably jump in the comments and be like, hey, bro, what's your stack for this? And then they say it's all these things. I was always like, man, it seems dizzying that you would have these clips and you're marching them around to 4 or 5 different places. It doesn't seem, that seems like a pain in the butt. They're probably using something like Freepik where it's all in one place and they're just mentioning the tools that they're actually accessing.
Yeah.
But if you had it in one place, it seems to be a lot easier to work with something to get an outcome, whereas you're not, you know, dragging your files here, there, and everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So they're probably using Freepik is the bottom line.
Well, so I actually I wanted to kind of give you a quick little thing what they look like, just to kind of, you know, give you a deep dive. So, you know, it's just like it's a food court. You walk in here, image generator, video generator. So an image generator, you can go, you can pick the model or it just picks it for you. Not sure how it does that, but look how many models they have. Qwen, Rave, Z Image, GPT.
Yeah, this is for people who know what they're doing and know what they want.
And then they tell you, but this is the coolest thing. They tell you how many credits it's going to take, right? So this is like literally you go into the food court and you're getting like the menu, you know, like, do you have 100 tokens, exceptional creativity? They kind of give you a little bit of the description of what it's going to take you. They give you what's trending. AI picks what's best. You know, Qwen is 30. Let's look at GPT. Holy cow, GPT is 150 to 500. So it kind of gives you this little interesting, you know, menu. I don't think I've seen this before, actually. Have you?
No.
And
not
and then this is
like this.
This is image, this is video. I'm guessing it's going to be the same. Video has all these different places, and they also give you, obviously video is a lot more than image, but I kind of like that you know exactly how much it's going to spend, right, in terms of tokens. And it gives you, I think the $9 gives you like 7,000 credits to spend, so you can see how much you can actually do. So very transparent. Clearly whatever they build is very interesting, and then you can,
that's really their business, is tracking all this crap.
right, and then you can go and search for whatever pictures you want. You know, like if you want to find I don't know, AI robot, it will give you like this you can either get or you can maybe buy it. They have like a little crown over here. So it's just like a very nice food court, like one of the, you know, like the more nice ones with a lot of
pretty
places.
handy to me. I'm down.
Yeah, no, very interesting model. So I thought that was interesting to kind of share and show what that looks like. But let's move back into our description over here. So they moved from stock library before November 2022 to the AI aggregator. There's not exact numbers of the revenue, but they're estimating at about 100 to 150 million. The good news, they didn't die. They could have, right? They totally after DALL-E, but they didn't. They pivoted. So they transformed to be an AI company by probably making some sweetheart deals, and they've got all these AI models that they got. Another thing that's really cool is they got a legal moat. basically once you get
Yeah.
the picture from them, it's kind of like you're protected, so there's not a lot of legal things that you can, go after. Not important for somebody like me who's, has a small company, but if you have a big company, that's pretty cool for you. They moved from 0 AI generations per day to 4 million per day. And they've got about 700,000 paying customers and 100 million active users. And then you can see how the revenue kind of transformed. So they dipped and then they kept growing. So I thought that was an interesting, model in terms of history. And now we can look at their pricing and kind of costs, and how does the company like that has so many variable costs, how do they protect themselves, right?
It's interesting that their pricing model is not more compartmentalized. Like they've got 3 general tiers. That's crazy.
Well, we're going to talk about that in a second. But in terms of who's watching our show, I was kind of wondering who can benefit from Freepik, right? So and these are basically who are the top 3 types of customers that use Freepik. So obviously, if you're a digital marketer and advertiser, you're probably already using that. So I'm not telling you anything new. Graphic designers and freelancers, and then content creators and social pros. So this is who the Freepik is, I guess, the godsend for them. And this is kind of, if you are dealing with any of that, Freepik is your place to go. And
my gut reaction, or my knee-jerk reaction to this thing was that, I can go to Nano Banana and make an image. I can mess around with some other stuff. I have my pet frustrations with those approaches. Just being able to type something into that search bar and get like an assortment of things that I can choose from. I really like that approach better.
Yeah.
It's just a little easier. It doesn't, if you're posting an image on social media, you're not looking for the best thing in the world. You're looking for something that's going to work. And is it worth fighting Nano Banana because you get like stupid results a couple times? Like probably not. Like I like.
I think if you're like us, who doesn't have to deal with this on a daily basis, I'm sure for me, Nano Banana is a perfect fit. But if I was doing something like that every day, I had to reiterate and create and make logos and this and that and brand and especially e-commerce companies. I think this will be a really godsend for them because they don't have to, there's a lot you can do with that now, and 30 AI models. That's pretty cool. Anyway, so let's look at how they actually make money. Let's look at the AI economics at work. So they've got 3 types of plans. And so they're renting AI models instead of building them, which will be interesting to see. I mean, I guess they don't depend on one model.
We have kind of taken the stance that the companies that rent the AI models are in a weaker position than the ones that are trying to roll their own. And a lot of the companies that were renting models have pivoted internally to try and have their own open source models trained in order to control costs and margins more effectively. Freepik seems to be an example of a company that's kind of maybe figuring it out, or at least navigating these fluctuating costs in a way that works for them.
Well, if we look back at this one right here, so OpenAI is LLM, Anthropic is LLM, Replit is a wrapper, right? Yep. And Freepik now is a wrapper. So Replit is a big wrapper and a Freepik is a big wrapper. And so they clearly figured out how to do this right, because according to the CEO, they are profitable again.
I think 11 Labs is mostly a wrapper too, but I think they've also got an internal pivot.
Right. And then the Cursor is a wrapper. I think
Fixer's a wrapper.
Right. Well, Fixer has their own yes, it is.
But it's sure. It's very specific use. Smart.
They don't have their own model. So anyway, super interesting. So let's keep looking at their model. So they've got the Essential, which is the average Joe.
Oh, can you share that other tab again?
Sorry. Average Joe like me. This is gonna be a plan for me. So we get 84,000 credits in a year. So that's about what, 7,000 a month, which is not a lot, right? If you look at the menu over there, it's not gonna buy me much. Then the premium, that is, we're talking about a lot more credits, still not a lot. And then at the Pro, they get unlimited fair use caps, whatever that means. But I thought, I'm like, how in the world do they figure this out? But they somehow figured this out, because look at that, they're still making money.
I mean, interesting. It's surprising they make more on the low end, but I guess people are, experimenting and they end up not using all the credits or something.
Apparently, they're making most of their money in the pro account. So we'll look at that in a second.
Wow.
And then look at their customer acquisition cost. This is something I want people who are watching us and building with us to start kind of training their ear towards. Theirs is very low on the essential. They're using all of that they're getting all of that from SEO. And then premium targeted campaigns, and then they've got enterprise sales team for the actual pro account, which obviously makes sense because it's a bigger deal over there. But look at what the profit comes from, right? AI costs $200 to $400. I wonder if they're really triaging like Chinese models and other things, because we saw those, right? And then they're driving those ones as default ones. So unless you pick OpenAI and other companies, you are kind of using whatever they deem the company that can give you the biggest result.
The first option was let AI choose. I assume let AI choose probably does quite a bit of cost-effective triaging more than results-based, because it's kind of hard to predict results.
Because they were Chinese models, and we know Chinese models are a lot cheaper. And
yeah,
I think
Quinn was on there for sure. But I also think that the pro users are probably more likely to have model preferences. But, like I said, I see these creators, I follow these guys, and they seem to be pretty open to playing with new stuff because there's all these advancements happening all the time, and they want to make sure they're getting the most out of it. So maybe that's reflective of the space,
Well,
people jumping around.
Now let's look at the visuals. I mean, okay, so this is the cost breakdown, 125 million ARR. That's estimate, right? So the biggest expense is people. They've got about 600 employees. That's 45% of their expense. Then they've got AI compute costs, about 30%, which is, would you say it's high or low? How would you define this now that we've done this?
I feel like it's low given what they do.
Right. Definitely
Really
in better shape than Cursor was. Sales and marketing, obviously for enterprise, it will be pretty high. That's pretty, you've got a sales team, you got to pay them. And then the infrastructure and all of that is yellow. But then look at this unit economics by tier. Look how much, like the revenue per pro is 1,900. Look at that compared to the little accounts.
Well, I mean, it's just so much more.
All the profit is coming from the pro.
It seems to me, though, if you look at that and this as a customer, shouldn't you just, I guess you can't pay for overages if you're at premium. I don't know how they do that. It's like, it's a tough pill to swallow. You're paying $300 a year, and then you move up a tier and you're now paying $1,900 a year.
Yep, I guess it's worth it. And I don't know how they figured that out, but that's very interesting to me. So for those who are building a wrapper, this is very interesting insight into kind of how to structure your customers. You got to know your customers, you got to know what's important to them, and then triage it so that way you're not leaving your shirt on the street or whatever.
I think it's worth mentioning that there's probably a lot of companies, like if you think about basic tier, pro tier, super advanced tier pricing, you usually don't have this big a difference. It's usually not $300 to $1,900. That seems shocking. I mentioned it. It seems shocking.
Yeah, for sure.
It's probably actually the smart play, because the people who are really locked in are going to pay that, even if they're not able to capture the difference, because what you're doing is certainly worth that much and then some to those people. So this could also be a little bit of a lesson in pricing generally for tiers. Usually we don't have that third tier that seems way out of whack.
Yeah.
But maybe there's something to this.
So all of that, I was like, what can our users learn from this? Like what are what's the playbook here, right? Like if you're building AI company, like I'm currently building one, I know you're building, we're building PageMotor. And so the lesson here is that you don't need to build AI models to build an AI company. So that's the first lesson. So we don't have to do that. You just have to be smart about like how you're going to wrap it around. Lesson 2, you charge different customers different ways. Well, obviously we know that from SaaS pricing back in the day, but with AI companies, it's even more important because you truly do have costs that you have to pay, especially as an aggregator, there's a lot of costs that you have to pay. And so, but you got to figure out what's important to every customer. So charge different customers different ways. And so, and number 3 is when something threatens your business, rebuild fast. Just kind of their holy shit moment, right? In November 2022, they rebuilt the entire company in 18 months. They didn't try to make their stock library better. That was the wrong battle. They bought AI capabilities they needed. They got some acquisitions. Obviously, they had some money to play with that, and then integrated 30 AI models. And so for builders, if a new AI tool launches that's 10 times better than your core product, you have, you have the moment to decide what you're going to do. You're going to partner, integrate, buy, or quit.
This is a tough game to play. It's a tough game to play because customers are acquired through fire and hype. Something hot, they want something now. If you're going to deliver that, you're not going to have trained your own model. You're not. That's not the way it's going to work. You're going to have to be a wrapper, and you're going to have to navigate that. And then the companies that are successful in doing that may have enough internal R&D budget to bake that while their business is operating successfully, and then come out with something like that after they're already established, have a big customer base, have a bunch of people believing in them. Then it's possible. But there's no way that all these things that are attempting to capture hype can lead with a trained model.
Well,
it may change in the future. There might be some inflection point like 2031 or something, but
the more we do this, the more my eyes being trained on like what's working, what's not working. Clearly, like product-led growth is going to be the biggest thing, right? Because you're like the better your product is, the more customers talk about you, and then you get free customers that way because it's like referrals.
And also, everyone wants magic right now.
Right, exactly. And then they are so ahead of anybody right now. Like, look how much they pivoted. What is Shutterfly or whatever, Shutterstock or whatever the other company that was everywhere, clearly not there. So my big takeaway is that whatever, if you've got a legacy, like, recruiting company or like other companies, like start thinking, how can you start transitioning or incorporating this so you don't get eaten alive, just like they had their holy cow moment, whatever.
Well, yeah, it's important to look at the landscape and say, where am I vulnerable? Where can AI absolutely cook me? For them, it was really obvious, like the novelty of stock images that are hard to get. Like, why would I pay for a stock image that others have paid for and used when I could create a new one just for me?
Exactly. I know.
For essentially the same price or cheaper. Like, obviously, the new one's.
So what's your biggest takeaway from this segment of this company?
I think it's the premium tier pricing level and a re-examination of that and what that means. Because you're capturing your power users. We have a sense that for certain tools, for certain people, it's like the people paying for it, they don't care what the price is. It's that valuable to them. You could almost charge anything. So we know that thing kind of exists. We don't want to exploit those people, but at the same time, we don't want to leave money on the table with them either. Mm-hmm. I don't think current pricing models that I've seen out there in the wild accurately capture that segment of people. It's clear that those are the most profitable people for them. There's a key distinction that we didn't key in on, but I think it has to be mentioned. They provide psychological relief to their highest tier people. They say it's unlimited usage. You don't have to track it. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to care. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That is worth so much. I mean, I just think about that to me personally. Whenever there's limits on anything, I love when I don't have to care.
Yep.
It's like being super wealthy. I want to go into the store and not care what the price is. I don't want to care. It feels so nice not to care.
Yep.
How much does that work?
Yeah. Love it. All right. Well, let's move on. We've got our deep dive of the week. And what the deep dive is about is, we kind of mentioned that in the news. I just wanted to do a little bit more of the, kind of what does that mean in terms of our, gosh, I can't speak today. But what does that mean in terms of, what does this news mean? Okay. And so I decided to name this deep dive of today, The Great Voice War of 2026. Can you see this?
No, you have not shared a screen.
Okay, great.
Oh, wait, there you go. Add to stage. Oh, it was there. You just had to add to stage.
Okay, so you can see it?
No, now it's not on the stage at all.
Okay, great. This is the live for you guys. Hold on.
I think I can do it.
Let me go. No, I have to get it. Uh,
I got it.
well,
can
yeah,
do
but
it.
I want to drive it. So
Okay.
sorry. Okay.
There we go. There we go. We did it.
Do
Right.
you want me to make it bigger or
If you
no?
can, you just zoom in once and kind of pan around.
Okay.
There you go. Perfect.
All right. Great. So, great voice war of 2026. The two tech giants, which is talked about that, made the opposite bets on how you'll talk to robots. One of them is about to look very, very stupid, and I wonder which one it's going to be. So, Team Hardware, OpenAI, the visionary, Team Software. How do you say the word? The behemoth.
The behemoth.
The behemoth.
I think they
Amazon.
both might actually fail, and we'll get into that. But
No, don't get ahead of it. Hold on. The prize to become the single interface between you and everything. Okay, so Amazon has been kind of almost. I mean, where was Amazon last year? Have you heard much about it? Other than they're collecting lots of dollars for their servers.
oh
right?
yeah, AWS.
AWS. They are in every play you can possibly imagine. But now they're moving into the customer interface and actually, the human part. So the first player. What if AI did not make you a digital zombie? So I think this is what OpenAI is betting on. They're betting that you want a new magical gadget designed for your voice. The pros, Magic UX, designed by Johnny
Ive. Johnny Ive. So he's iPhone. He's iPhone. He designed iPhone.
Right. So he's a big deal, right? Like if you get him,
like in the product design world, he's the guy.
Right. So they've got the guy who's designing this Magic UX. They've got this dead time productivity, like commute and chores when you're not on your phone, but OpenAI still wants you to talk to them. Post-screen future, it's a radical bet against screen addiction.
Well, hold on real quick. Let's go back to the dead time productivity point. So the idea here is that there's times, a lot of times during the day when you can't access a screen. It's unsafe. But you could still be productive if you could talk to an AI somehow. What does that look like?
I know. And it's actually smart. GPT-4 class reasoning power. So clearly it has access to your OpenAI account, which is not bad. But the cons of that they're moving into it, it's another freaking gadget. So it's like,
I mean, come on.
How many times did our teenager lose his AirPods?
Oh, Lord have mercy. He needs like a subscription service to AirPods.
I mean, like this is ridiculous. Like it's a pen. Like, can you imagine what can go wrong with this?
Oh,
right?
Quick aside, it's a pen, but it's a voice device. Are you gonna microphone this thing all the time? Like,
carry it around? I don't know. It doesn't exist yet. It's they're saying it's at the end of 2026 or 2027.
months.
So they're like behind. And then the privacy nightmare fuel. It's an always on OpenAI mic. I don't know. And then the price, how much is it going to be? Who knows, right? So that is kind of what's happening with OpenAI's announcement of what they're doing. They're moving into the gadget where you can talk to it, all right? Moving away from your screen into the gadget. Player number 2 is Amazon. So what if the AI you have was just everywhere? So Amazon is betting that you are sick of gadgets and want to, the stuff to work now. So what they're doing, they're moving away from Echo, which you can still access it on your Echo, but they're moving you towards, to the screen with your, kind of typing whatever in the screen. So the pros, it works right now, no waiting, open a tab, go to browser, it's there. It's distribution cheat code from 600 million devices to billions of web users overnight. Boringly useful, shopping, timers, calendars. It actually does stuff, so it's agentic, and it's free. So obviously with Prime, without Prime, it's like $19 a month or something like that. The cons, it's not that smart. It's still playing catch up to ChatGPT. You yell across the room, magic is gone.
The magic, okay.
Yep. Feature, not revolution. Smart business, not a visionary leap. And it's just another chatbot. Is it compelling enough to switch, right? It's another AI platform that is connected to your Amazon account, which I'm sold on that, because we all know Amazon banned AI agents like Perplexity and others to access Amazon, so they
Oh,
can
that's
go
right.
into their walled up garden. So now you have access to that to do whatever you want with that information. So now that we have two players.
Well, hold on. I want to make a point about Amazon there. So Amazon has data that OpenAI does not. OpenAI is making a bet. It's kind of a naked bet. They know how people are using the prompts. They know people want to do voice prompts. That's really the extent of their data input for this new venture. Amazon, on the other hand, knows the history of physical device sales over the last decade.
Yeah,
they
know a lot of data about us.
They know that they're sagging. Not only do they know the sales of these devices, they also know the usage. They might know that usage maybe is declining. Maybe usage peaked in 2020 or something like this and has declined ever since on a per unit basis. You know, it's like 2 minutes a day down from 7 minutes a day or something like this. I'm just suggesting this. But what I am saying for sure that I know is that they have data along these lines. So they have real trends that are, you know, a product of human behavior and actual decisions people are making. So that Amazon's play is more based on actual sentiment and actual, you know, human activity than OpenAI's play. With that said, I just think no one's going to use this at all. I'm not going to go to Alexa.com and talk to it. But maybe for ordering stuff, maybe I'll be doing that. But
I try to figure out exactly, like, I think what they're doing is they know, here's what they do know. They know the shoppers' patterns, behaviors, and they, I guess, making a play of chaining it together, right? And I again, it's not available. You're on the wait list. I want to play with it once it's out. This was literal in the news, and I just thought it was very weird coincidence that both of them are making this plays at the same time. They're kind of going completely different paths. OpenAI is going. Like, I already can talk to OpenAI on my phone. Why do you freaking need another device? I don't know, but
I mean, to me, Amazon's play is an integration that is using voice as, you know, voice and prompting. A combination.
Yeah, they're moving. They're kind of moving
the main UI.
They're moving away from what OpenAI is moving towards. You know what I mean? Weird.
I mean, okay. All right, we'll keep going, then I'll make another point. But
so I was like, okay, so what are they? What like? Let's think here, right? Because I want all of us here to think. It's not just news that we're presenting here. We're talking about the trends. Like, you are here, walk away, and you're like, where is this going? And why are they doing this? Why are they making this place? Just like we saw with Freepik, they made a move almost 3 years ago to create the company that's crushing it right now, where people are just like waking up. What's AI? So now, like, you're hearing this trend about the voice, right? So this is not a fight about a gadget. It's about like the OS of your life. So whoever owns the conversation owns the attention, data, and decisions. So Amazon has a lot of your data, a lot of your attention, a lot of your decisions, and a lot of my money. so like, they're like, you know, like, it's already very deeply integrated in my OpenAI is. So
Amazon can serve you stuff that it knows you want in a way that OpenAI cannot.
Right. So I like that we, you know, forget screens. What happens when we prefer AI companions to humans? AI does things, could vaporize millions of service jobs. So when you talk to it, that will be weird. It's privacy Armageddon, always on mics, the data breach and disaster. The real winner is your productivity, obviously, because you can talk versus just kind of type. And winner take all means being trapped in one company's ecosystem forever, because that's kind of what I guess they're doing, you know. And then Amazon is kind of making this play, and that's what we have to pay attention. Like, why are they doing that?
I mean, I think this whole thing boils down to one basic variable, and that variable is this: what is the perfect number of devices in your life? I'm going to argue that it's between 0 and 1.
Well,
for some people, it will be 0, and that means it will be an embedded thing, an embedded chip. You might like recoil at this. It's coming. Plenty of freaks will opt for some sort of silicone device to be implanted in them. Okay, I will not do this. That's why I said freaks. But someone else will do this. It's like the same thing now. Maybe you would never get a tattoo, but other people will cover their entire bodies in tattoos.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. So that's the 0 device people. The 1 on the other side of this spectrum is the phone. And until further notice, it's iPhone and it's Android, counterparts. Do we see that changing? Do I see that changing? I certainly don't think a pen from Johnny Ive is going to displace the iPhone. Survey any group of teenagers in America right now. It is all about the iPhone. Actually, Europe too. From what I saw, the last Norwegians I was around couldn't get their heads out of the phone. So it's the same thing over there too.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's the device.
So listen, I think, so here's the deal. So who wins, a Genius or a 6.5 billion paperweight? On a stake, it's either or is a false choice. We want the magic of OpenAI with, what is ubiquity? How do you say it?
Ubiquitous or ubiquity. I don't even see it on there, but it's somewhere.
Ubiquity of Amazon. We probably won't get it. So the winner won't be the best AI. It will be whoever understands human laziness better. So to me, like, this is actually really good. So human laziness, like we want less devices. I want less things.
Yeah. You can't sell me another device.
Right.
Wearables don't work. That's why.
We know edge device. Yes. Or edge device.
Edge. Yeah.
Edge device is coming, right? Because we talk about how your the GPUs, it's not going to be the power of like the most GPUs, it's going to be the edge devices. So like your phone may morph into that, but we don't know what they're designing.
It's going to be more powerful with a better chip.
But I feel like why is OpenAI going that path? Like, I'm just so confused. I feel like they're all over the place.
Yeah, they seem like sort of like a cocaine addict to me, just all over it. A lot of energy, just all over the place.
We don't want to go that far. But to me, like, this is worth paying attention. The voice matters. The voice commands matters. Like, we have Grok in our Tesla that I can talk to while I'm driving already. I don't need to bring a pen. I already have access to that, and I can talk to it, and I can connect it to my account and all that stuff. And so, like, how do we make that? But like, that's Grok. Obviously, it's not OpenAI or Amazon.
Voice is real. Conversational AI is real for sure.
Right, and then there's a lot of pluses to that. Why are you creating another device? I don't know. But here's my takeaway. Whatever you're building, it has to be conversational adjacent or conversational compliant or It needs to be conversational, because that is where it's moving. I agree about the laziness. Hi there. I really agree on the laziness, because we as humans, everything that's going down, it's going to be going down the path of the laziness. Whoever can figure that out, I guarantee it's not carrying more devices, buying more devices.
No
I have more devices than I care about. But the voice thing is for real. And I think it's interesting that we have this kind of play happening right now. So
we've had the answer for a long time. It's just that the answer sucks. Siri is the goat of this. Everyone has the phone. You talk to the phone, but like, Siri sucks. We've also talked about in previous episodes how Apple is a notoriously slow mover, especially under Tim Cook. As far as, okay, new trend happens, they never chase the new trend. They sit, it's a wait and see thing, and then they'll roll out some, either they end up not capturing that trend because the trend fizzles, or they do some baseline thing that's sort of just foundational and keeps things moving at a slow pace, but it's like, there's some improvement. And my attention will be captured when Apple either breaks down and admits that Siri sucks and they need to partner, or someone, somehow manages to convince them to partner up, or they provide an open landscape that allows you to connect your AI of choice and allow that to serve as the Siri on your phone. To me, that's the breakthrough.
Yeah.
Because it's already got the conversational capabilities. It has a speaker, it has a microphone. You can talk to it can talk back to you. The only other part of the chain that needs to happen is the AI inference, and that part of the, the equation. And Apple has not done that yet. I think they kind of have held out this hope that it's going to be their model, but they don't have a model.
Apple is nowhere to be seen. I mean, in the AI space, like, I don't see Apple at all. Like, what is Apple doing?
That's what I'm saying. They have to partner. And instead of partnering with one company and going in bed with them, they need an open thing that allows you to choose who your conversational assistant is.
Well, I don't know, but
And if they don't do that, I predict that Elon is going to come out with a phone that
or
basically does
device.
that, and
Yeah,
then that could displace Apple's iPhone.
it's
I don't
coming.
think this plays out any other way. It's
No,
not
I
gonna be
know
an
for
Amazon
sure.
phone.
You heard it here first. So OpenAI is moving away from the screens. Amazon is moving towards the screens. They're all kind of betting on the voice being the operating thing. So voice is super important. And to wrap this up today, we're going to talk about the funding. Are you ready to move to that?
Yep, let's do it.
All right. So with funding, funding looked kind of crazy this past week. So the biggest thing.
Oh, I like the design this week. You
Did
got it? You
you?
want me to get it?
Yeah, I got it. You see it?
I'm just an observer this week. Yep, there it is.
You are an observer. Anyway, so the funding this week, 85% of the total funding. It got
Oh my God.
$23.8 billion. It looks scarier than it looks because 20 billion of that went to
Oh, right.
XAI. So overall it was 3.8 billion, but still pretty significant and a lot. 68 companies got funded. 45% of all companies in the world got AI funding. 110 industry categories. Interesting, right? So where did the money go? The United States got the most of it, 89%. Asia got 9.5%. China, don't even know how much, did not register. And Europe, very, very little, 73 to 179. Key trends, late stage mega rounds, like XAI got 20 billion. Foundational AI dominance, foundational and generative AI companies raised $20 billion. Investors continue to bet on platform level capabilities over applications. And deal size disparity, average deal size was 350 million and median was 10.5. So very interesting trends. But let's look at the 5 companies, okay?
I was going to say, let's look at those. This is interesting
Yeah.
this week.
So XAI, we talked about it a lot. It's definitely the winner, except for Grok, being naughty with their lack of boundaries. This week.
No, we can't have agency.
No. Are you kidding me? We gotta have guardrails. So we all know XAI, they got 20 billion. Day one, the company from Singapore got $2 billion. They operate hyperscale data centers built specifically for AI workloads, providing the compute infrastructure that makes training massive AI models possible. So this is going to be interesting. The training models is going to be the route that those who don't want to wrap around the models will get. And now that we know that NVIDIA is making all of these possibilities with open source models, I wonder if companies like Day One is going to be even more
Oh,
popular.
NVIDIA was the one with the open source investment.
Yes. Well,
I
no,
forgot about
they
that.
completely opened up their model.
Right. So I love this. And I think about Day One and companies like this as Home Depots. You need a Home Depot in your area if you're going to have a big construction, a construction boom. And Day One is serving as a Home Depot sort of for the next boom in AI, which is building your own models. Like this is clearly the most sustainable path forward. And
Right.
this is the way this is going to happen.
And then you get Micro One. Remember that company we talked about that can lease you the people that can help you train it. So like
Yes.
there's a whole economy here working very, very well. So you gotta keep up. I can barely keep up, and I do this every week. Brainco.
I like this one here. This one's the interesting one of the week.
Brainco is 286
million.
Good Lord. I'm losing my mind.
I like how it's so accurate. It's $56. How do they get the extra $418,056?
I don't know. Developing brain computer interfaces for education and wellness, technology that reads brain signals to help students improve focus and enable new human computer interaction. I was thinking about it today. I was like, if voice is becoming the main mode of operation and the companies are betting on that, what does it mean for our students? Like, will people even know how to type in the future or like how to write? Like, what will that mean? We'll just like talk all the time? I don't. And now we have these companies like that are.
You're not going to have much tolerance for writing, which is super slow bandwidth.
I know.
I mean,
Interesting.
like, why would you? I'm
Solely
already annoyed with my thumbs.
Solely therapeutics using AI to accelerate drug discovery. Big fan. Combining artificial intelligence with molecular detection to identify promising drug candidates faster than traditional methods.
So we
Respect.
are finding a lot of new potentials with medicine through molecular combination. Apparently, this was tough to kind of identify and trace before. I don't do this, but I mean, from what I've read, I gather that it was tough to identify compounds and basically chase whether or not these things were going to be viable and potentially effective as medicines. Apparently, this process is million xed with some of these AI things. I guess the potential molecular combinations it's sort of like decrypting large hashes. Like it's a tough game. You got to play all these different combinations and to see what finally clicks. This obviously is something that AI unlocks in a huge way. So I'm super bullish on this kind of thing.
I think if AI can help with that, that's going to be a huge breakthrough. And then ID Fresh Food, modernizing traditional Indian food production with AI powered supply chain and quality control, scaling authentic food preparation through intelligent automation. I have no idea what that means. $166 million. I mean, like,
Well, India is the food poisoning capital of the world, so I feel like that might have something to do with it.
no, I mean, this is very interesting. I want to go check it out because that's a lot of money for what I didn't know there was a problem with that. So like that will be interesting to see what does that mean. But if you're curious, go check it out because these companies are raising money, and you heard it here first. So let's sum this up from today. A big one takeaway that whoever listened to us today, and thank you for being with us. It's nice to be back. What's your one big takeaway from today?
It's really a combination, but voice as the main input mechanism for interaction with computers. It's been keyboard and mouse. It's been keyboard and mouse for an alarmingly long time if you think about it. Thumbs was a step backwards, but voice is clearly the way forward. I love that you brought up our use of Grok in the car. I think it's phenomenal. I've been asking questions like stuff I'm thinking about, like work stuff. I'm like, I want to, I have a question about this. I want to solidify my answer before I go in and start working on this thing. I've been doing that. That's been really helpful. There's no screen involved. I think that's remarkable. So voice is definitely the primary input mechanism. I think my statement about the perfect number of devices is anywhere between 0 and 1, depending on how you are as a human. I don't think that changes. I don't think it goes beyond 1 ever.
Yeah.
So I think that sort of colors the way you interpret everything that's happening. If you kind of accept that as canon, which I certainly do. And the other thing that sticks with me is this thinking about pricing models. I love that we're exploring these because at first glance, it seems sort of boring to me, but to actually watch it unfold and to see how everybody's handling this just a little bit differently. Like you would think there'd be a whole lot of similarity and like, oh yeah, this obviously wins and this obviously loses. It's not that simple. And everybody's capturing what they need to capture in different ways. And I think what Freepik's doing in that premium tier, it's really got me rethinking power users. You want to squeeze as much out of them as you can, but also in a way that's not exploitative.
Yeah.
And maybe by providing psychological relief, you can make it feel better to them. Like, oh, I don't have to think about my limits. It's unlimited for me. Maybe that's enough. So that kind of thing, fascinating stuff. I've got a lot to think about after chewing through this today. What do you think?
My biggest takeaway was seeing the menu of the pricing of like all the models, the 30 models in one place. If nothing else, like this was huge just to see what models are out there, which ones are more cost effective, which ones are less cost effective. And especially if you're wrapping it around, it's kind of, that was actually, I didn't even expect I was going to see that, but it was like really like, whoa, that was the menu of how many credits it costs to process a request and what if nothing else, they're doing the research of what model is good for what is really helpful. And then my other takeaway is to see how consistent, let's say, Anthropic has been throughout. We've been doing this for 5 months now, almost 6 months. Anthropic, it's like they're locked in. They're doing whatever they're doing. And then OpenAI is like this 15-year-old
It's
teenage
just
girl.
scattershot.
They're like all over the place. And then just like seeing the trends of like who is actually moving in the direction and who's got this consistency happening. That was like, to me, I'm kind of getting the, getting the feel of what the world of AI looks like, who are the players, and kind of how do we work with all of that. And you can literally build whatever you want, wrap it around, build your own model. You got whatever you want. So I'm really curious to hear what you're building. Leave us a comment, let us know what you're building, and let us know what when to do more of or less of. But I enjoy doing this every week. It helps me keep track of what's happening because there's a lot going on. I cannot imagine not getting this information every week, especially for what I'm building right now. So
one more thing that stands out to me is that, like, if you are a practical AI viewer, which we essentially are, even though we make the show, exploring these, like going to Freepik and seeing those models, like that holds a different interest because I've heard of all these. I kind of know, like, okay, Quinn should be cheaper. I know that ChatGPT is very expensive for image and video generation, but you get to see it spelled out, like it reinforces all this stuff in a different way. Because of that, I have a heightened familiarity with all these things. And like, so if I look at that interface versus somebody who's not a practical AI viewer, I'm going to get more out of it just because I already have all this, this ancillary knowledge and information.
Well, and especially since you're building in page model where you can access all kinds of different models. This is really awesome to see like what that looks like. It may not look the same way in page model, but whatever.
Oh, on that note, 2026, I'm almost certainly going to lease my own GPU space and have my own train model to do the page model queries.
Oh, interesting.
It just seems like something that has to happen based on the types of queries that will be performed.
Yeah.
And I think more and more people are going to come to this conclusion about their businesses. It's like Fixer.ai, the email assistant, essentially. They've really narrowed down like what they do. They don't need a lot of compute. They're not doing anything super fancy.
Yeah.
And I think for almost any application, if you're being brutally honest, you don't need that much. You have a narrow range of stuff that you got to do. It makes sense to have models trained on exactly the scope of what you do. So I think that's going to be one of the big trends in 2026. Don't want to go too far into that because next week we're going to come clean with our 2026 AI predictions.
Yay, we'll do that. All right, thanks everybody for being with us. We really appreciate your attention and spending time with us. Until then, have a great time building. Talk to you later.
Yep.
Bye.
See you guys.